Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have, I don't want to butcher this guy's name, man. He'll hate me, but it's Gualter. Gualter is his name. And we're going to have him on here in just a second. So stay with us and share this out. Share it out. See you in a minute. All right, here we go. Let's get Gualter on here. Dude, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Ken. I love the intro, man. Grant
Thank you.
Cardone, you got some killers on here.
Yeah, dude. My best friend in the world is Glenn Morshower, who played Agent Aaron Pierce on 24. He's actually right now in Atlanta filming for Ozark. He just got a role on Ozark. Like, yeah,
That's awesome.
he's the man. We were live last night. We have a blast, man. But so yeah, look, man, I started this show about 3 years ago, and it was literally to help people have a breakthrough, to get unstuck. And I know that we've all been through, most people been through some crap in life, right? So that's what this is about, man. It's about how you got through the tough times. So Gualter, why don't you start with where you were born and raised?
All right. So I was born in Fall River, Massachusetts, which if you do look it up, it is not Boston. If anybody asks me, I say, oh, Boston, but it's an hour away from Boston. It's the heroin capital of the state and has a pretty rough reputation as far as the most shootings in the state. And but I didn't know that growing up. I really thought I grew up in a really nice place.
Wow, the heroin capital.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of reputation around Fall River, and we have the most corrupt politicians. It's I think we're on the come up, but our past mayor was recently indicted, and prior to that, the mayor before him, brandished a gun and ended up out of office. So we've removed our mayors twice in the city. We have another thing we're great at. So
Wow. Sounds like a really nice place to grow up.
yeah, it's where I started. So I started at the bottom. Now we're here.
Nice, dude. So growing up, I mean, was it rough? Was it a rough town when you were a kid? I mean,
So it was definitely rougher than it is now. And I wasn't allowed to go on the sidewalk. I wasn't allowed to leave the yard. I wasn't allowed to, ride my bike down the block. My parents were really cautious about everything. In fact, in the second grade, they pulled me out of school. They said, "We're going to homeschool you. This is just getting too bad." And they were concerned, about, like what was going on. So they decided they'd homeschool us, which, thanks, but that makes you really awkward and unsocial. So.
yeah. Well, our daughter's homeschooled right now because of all this craziness going on. So, and she's missing her friends big time, man. So yeah, that sucks. So in second grade, so what is that, like 7 or 8 years old? Like,
Yeah, man.
And you were homeschooled the entire time then?
Homeschooled my entire life, and then I went
Wow.
to college, and I only did like 2 semesters in college.
Wow.
But I turned out okay. I turned out a millionaire, turned out successful, but it was I had to work a little harder for it, Ken.
I'm sure. Well, I can relate to that, man. So you only, what were you going to college for?
So I went to college for marketing. I thought that was like a great idea. I liked the concept of it. I knew every business needed it. And I got in and I realized I sucked at it. And then I got into accounting. they changed my major to accounting and with a business minor. And I never finished college, but everything that I took from there, fortunately, I didn't take histories or anything. I just took math, Excel, accounting, business management, like things that I could actually use later on in my life.
Yeah. So you left college, And then where'd you go? Did you instantly become a millionaire? Did you?
I wish that was my story. No,
Yeah.
I
Now,
made
were
the
you still
mistake.
in Mass at the time?
I was still in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So what I did was I went and I started working at a a bakery. So it was the biggest bakery on New England. So they have like 500 employees and they ship bread through Stop and Shop, Shaw's, Market Basket. And I was what they call a rack hauler. So I would grab these 500-pound racks. I grabbed two in each hand. So I'm carrying a ton. And my job was to haul them from one side of the warehouse to the other side of the warehouse. And I was doing this on third shift. So I was doing this from 8 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock in the morning. And I thought it was a great job because they were paying me $18 an hour plus the third shift, $2 bump. So I was making like $20 an hour, but I couldn't feel my legs in the morning, and I couldn't spend any time with family because I'd be sleeping. Literally, I'd get home at 8, I'd be sleeping at 9, and I would sleep the entire day away and then wake back up and do it again.
Wow. I'm assuming they were on wheels.
They were on wheels. The only benefit was they were on wheels.
Wow.
You try to turn those corners with that, like, dude, I was 140 pounds at the time. You know, like,
wow,
big guy pulling these things.
So, how long did you do that?
I did that for 3 years, and I worked Walmart before that. So I, thought I was the man, being the manager at Walmart, and moved my way up into that job. And then I watched that movie Office Space. Office Space changed my life. It's crazy, right?
Did it really?
Yeah, man. I watched that movie and I was like,
Office Space.
I could be in an office doing nothing all day. I was like, I could be that guy, right?
And Jennifer Aniston, I might meet her.
We could only hope. I did not have any hot ladies in my office. I didn't work out that way. It's not what I thought it would be.
So you left this labor intensive job and went to an office?
Yeah.
What?
So my father-in-law at the time had got me into this finance department. I was dude, all I did was write invoices up, but I was in finance. I was in accounting.
Yeah.
But all I did was push the print button, reconcile, push the print button, reconcile. But what it did for me is it started getting me seeing big contracts. Work for a company called Computer Associates, and they bill Walmart like $1 million a month, or they bill like the big, Pfizer, like these big companies, Raytheon, like $1 million invoices. And I'd just be like the guy who printed it and put it in an envelope, but it was enough to get me thinking, like, this money exists.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long did you work in the office stuffing invoices into envelopes?
4 years was my longest job ever.
4 years?
I'd drive an hour from Fall River up to Boston, and I'd sit there for 8 hours a day.
Oh my God. Were you making the same money or better or less?
I was making the same money. In fact, I actually was making less, but for me, I got to sleep during the night like normal people, and I got to see my wife at the time. So it was like a benefit to me, but like I realized I had a blueprint. I made 40,000 for the last 10 years, right? All I did was change how I was making it, but I was still making 40 grand, 10 years in a row.
Yeah. Wow. And what happened after 4 years? Did you smash a printer out in the field? And
it got bad, Kev. It got bad. So I started jumping, like I started reading these books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Rich Man of Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, Science of Getting Rich. If it said rich in the title, I was like, I'm reading that book because I am not rich at the moment, and this is not working for my life.
Yeah.
And I got obsessed. I got nuts, man. Like I got tapped out. Like I was a little crazy. And Charles, what's up, brother? So I shifted over and I decided I was going to get into stock trading. And I threw all my money into it, $5 grand. That's all I had. Yeah. I threw $5 grand to stock trading. And I gained.
How did you have $5 grand if you're only making 40 a year?
I was living in Fall River where the average rent was $700. And commuting in.
Wow, man.
It was not an easy time, but I was convinced that I was on top of the world, right? I had 2 cars. I had a house. I really thought I was the man. And from where I came from, I was crushing it, right? Like all my friends would be happy to make 40 grand. They'd be happy to make the money I was making.
Yeah.
But then something shifted. I wanted more. I realized I wanted more. I got married, I bought a house, and like now all my money was gone. And like all these books, I was trading. I sucked at trading. I make 3 grand, I'd lose 3 grand. I make 3 grand, I'd lose 3 grand. So it was like I just couldn't get ahead.
Yeah.
On the story of Tesla, right? I was buying Tesla at $24. It'd get to $60 and I'd be like, awesome, win. Not a win.
What's Tesla at now? It's like
it's like 750 right now. Whatever. Small. And if you take a look at when they did the split, the 5 stock split, it would be close to 3,500 right now.
Wow.
I did not win.
Yeah, I did. If you would have held on to it, you'd be doing all right, dude. Well,
Ken, we'd be having this conversation. I'd have more hair.
Yeah, right. So you started doing the stock trading thing. It wasn't working for you, and you were still living in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Huh?
Massachusetts. Yep.
Yeah. Right. And so what happened, man? What happened with that job?
So I got this crazy idea that I could just start contracting. So I started contracting, and I would go to these recruiters, and I just built this big list of recruiters. Instead of me trying to find different jobs, I'd have these recruiters call me. They'd call me with a $25,000 an hour job, or a $30 an hour job, or a $35 an hour job. And I would just shift from, I started working at Coca-Cola, then I started working at Johnson & Johnson, then Coca-Cola, their contract ended, but Johnson & Johnson opened another one up. So I'd be making these raises every time I jump, every 6 months from these different companies. And then Johnson & Johnson pulled me on full time. So for the first time in my life, I was making $78,000, and I realized that I had all this extra cash and I really just hated my job. And it was in that job that I actually snapped. Like that was the job where I got so like fed up with, like I was a administrator to the vice presidents in Johnson & Johnson in the sales team for a company that they own, DePuy Synthes. And I was like frustrated booking people's flights. Like I just hated the idea of I'm booking people's flights. I should be on flights, like
for
I'm booking this guy's
70
hotel.
grand a year.
Right.
That's not a terrible gig.
No, but I had this entrepreneurial spirit. I started all these little side businesses that didn't work out. I've been doing the hustle with, stock trading, and it just like, it was because I'd made too much money, Ken. Like, I don't know, like if you've studied Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker's principle.
Well, it's not one of my favorite books.
So the blueprint, right? The blueprint hit me. My thermostat got way up to 78. And I was like, no, I'm a $40,000 person. So it just, boom, I hit that wall, and I was like, I got to get out of this job. Like, I hate it. I didn't hate it. The job was the easiest job I ever had. It was literally the easiest thing I ever had. I didn't have to do anything.
Calling Delta all day.
Right?
Hey, I need to book a flight to Europe for some a-hole that I don't really like.
Dude, I didn't even know these guys, right? They were in Virginia.
Oh my God, dude, that's crazy.
Nobody babysat me, but I was miserable because I was making too much money for myself.
Wow. Really?
That's easiest job of my life, right? I'd made it, but I was miserable because I was earning too much.
That is not logical, by the way.
Not even close. That shit is emotional. None of it makes sense. But it was, I've done the research. I've gone back, and that's what I did, because the next year I only made 17,000. I evened it out, right? Like,
well done, good job, dude.
Right? Like, my subconscious mind was crushing it.
Oh my God, this is great. Okay, so you hit the ceiling. You didn't know. Like you didn't realize what was going on. Like no way. But your auto barometer kicked in and said, nope, you hate this job. It's miserable talking to Delta all day. What are you doing, man? You're better than this. Exactly. Or you're not better than this.
I thought I was better. Go ahead.
So what'd you do? What happened? You said you snapped.
Yeah. So,
dude, did you at any point in this story? I want to know if you beat the shit out of a printer or not with a ball bat.
I'm so passive aggressive. Like at the time, I was building all the Excel files that the company would use for pricing and all the stuff, and I set just a little flaw in the Excel files that made my life like I was just like, okay, like when this code changes, everything else isn't going to work, and they'll miss me. Like it was so immature, it was so dumb. And they never missed me, and they never gave me a call to say, hey, can you fix this for me? So, I don't know what happened.
Did you quit?
Yeah, what happened was I bought 2 houses, right? So I bought this 3-family and I bought this 2-family. I sold my single family. I bought these 2 houses using that money. And I was now making this passive income, like, $15,000 a year. And I couldn't stand my job. So when I went to quit, like I remember I was ratting out everybody in the company, like, oh, this person's doing this person's doing that. Like it was like my final, like I just went through and I told everybody everything that I'd ever thought about them, or if I didn't like them, I'd tell other people, like all like it was just so immature, dude.
Did the thought ever occur to you that snitches get stitches? Like no.
Yeah, no, like I hadn't learned about 69 at the time, so yeah, I was 69 at that time. Like, it was not a healthy place in my life.
Wow. So okay, so you wreaked havoc as you were exiting. How long did that go on? A month, 2 months?
That was 1 day. That was just 1 day of hell. Yeah, I tore through the office. There's 2,000 people that work there, so I had I had some time to take care of business. And I talked to HR. They were my starting point. I just ran the list, and then I ran through the rest of the company, got my chest off, got it all off my chest, and I got out.
You just walked out.
Yeah, but I remember calling my wife and crying, right? Because I was like, dude, I'm done. Like I was emotional. Like I was like, I'm fucking done. Like I can't deal with these people anymore. Like I'm out. And like looking back, obviously I realized I was so immature. Like now I realize like I choose the people I spend my time with. I choose what I do. But at the time I felt like I was in a prison. I really did. I'd go to that place every day, put the suit on and think like, oh my God, like this is hell. Like I'm like a robot. How did I show up here again today? Like, I don't know what's going on in my life, but every day I get in the car and it brings me here. This is torture.
Grant talks about that, we have a tendency of picking the wrong target when we're ticked off. A lot of people do, right? So we might be miserable and blame it on something that has nothing to do really in reality with our misery. Right?
Yep.
So you leave. How old are you at that point? Like you leave this.
At that point, I was 28 years old.
You were 20.
28. Yes, I was 28.
Oh, 28. Yep. Making $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's dude, that's not that bad.
Well, from
booking flights. You were booking flights, dude.
I made it, man. I made it.
So here you are. Okay, so you're 28. And you have a duplex and a triplex, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And so you're now at that point, you're like, I don't need this crap. I'm a real estate mogul, y'all.
That's
like,
what's up.
Come on.
So I built a wedding invitation business for my beautiful wife at the time. And so I was married to a beautiful woman. I had 2 pieces of real estate. We had 2 vehicles. I moved back to my hometown. So I was the king, right? I was doing really good. I had all this passive income. I had this high paying job, and I was completely miserable, right? Like the people in my city, like were making $36,000 a year. That was the income. And I look younger than 28, please. Thank you. That was 7 years ago. So I was at the top of the world in my mind, but that's because I'd never been outside of my city, right? I'd never really done anything. I didn't never gone anywhere. So I went out and then I came right back, and I stayed small for a little while. And I ended up, when I quit my job, because I had that wedding invitation business my wife was running. She had just quit her job and she was doing it. When I quit my job, she in her head was like, this man is not supporting me. Like, he's not thinking about me. He's thinking about himself.
Yeah.
Right? He's not concerned about our future. Now, I'd saved up $25,000 before I quit, and I did
Yeah.
have 2 rental properties, and I was crushing sales on her business. Like, I was just cold calling and doing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But she saw me as a liability, no longer as an asset. And so she asked for divorce literally the same month that I quit.
Wow.
So I crushed my blueprint, by the way, right? I crushed it, right? So
yeah.
I was making my 40,000. I evened it out. The next year I got my real estate license. So I'm an accountant going into sales.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize real estate is not, they don't hand you leads. Like, you got to go and build a business. And I had no Facebook at the time. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff. Like, what you teach, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So it was a really amazing situation for putting yourself into the fire and building yourself. But like, it was really hell for me. You know, and my wife, she called me while I was renovating one of my units. I'd never renovated a unit before. I never, had tenants before. And I was renovating. I remember sitting on a bucket when she gave me the call, and I just sat down on this paint bucket, and I thought, like, and I grew up with suicidal tendencies. Like, I was always like, thinking about it in the back of my head. And at this point I was like, yeah, I guess this is as good a time as any to just finish things and end it now, because it doesn't get worse than this. I've lost the love of my life. I was building all this real estate and doing all these businesses for her anyway, and I've lost that. I've quit my job. I now have no source of income, and I'm not really that great at this real estate thing, even though I've studied a lot of it. And I don't really have a reason to go forward at this point. And like, it was such a traumatic experience just thinking about it. But we all have that one person, and for me it was my brother. That first person showed my head, okay, no, I got to stay here. I can't take my life because my brother, that wouldn't be fair to him. And then I put my dad in my head, and then from that point I didn't really have much else. I thought of my uncle, my grandparents, and I was like, I need something bigger. Like, I need something to keep me here on this planet, because otherwise, like, I don't have enough. Like, these 5 people I thought of aren't enough to keep me here. And I thought, like, there must be other people who suffer like this. And even if there's one other person who's suffering, the trauma I'm going through, like, maybe I could teach that person. So if I could figure out how wealth works, if I could figure out how relationships work, if I could figure out how to mentally stay happy at all times, then I could go out and teach somebody one day. And then I remember vividly walking across the kitchen, looking out the window and saying, like, to myself, and just knowing I'm going to own all of these houses that I can see. And that'll be the trigger. When I own these houses, I will just teach people. I won't be that stuck up landlord, because I couldn't find a mentor. Like, nobody wanted to teach me what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll be the guy. Like, I'll sit out at restaurants and I'll be the guy who just teaches people how to build wealth. And it got me excited. Like, I had this chill. Like, I knew I owned all that real estate already. Like, I just knew it inside my bones that it was mine. And I knew that one day I would teach, and one day I'd give back and I'd contribute. And every day since then, I haven't even considered suicide. I haven't thought about it. It just, just keep moving forward towards that goal. And then we came up with the 100 millionaires. How do I monetize? How do I set a goal with numbers to it? Well, million is a number, and then 100 millionaires, that's a number. So now I have a tangible goal, because I was just saying I want to help people, but that didn't get me out of bed. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like without some sort of way to like track if you're being successful, this goal wakes me up every morning, because I don't know how to do it. It wakes me. I get out. I don't sleep at night. I wake up in the morning, but I'm excited to be alive. Because it's hard. It's something new.
Dude, that's incredible, and I can totally relate to it. I think a lot of people can. A lot of people won't admit it, but they we've all been through some crazy stuff, man. So you decided that you were going to own all that real estate. Dude, you can't fill your head with T. Harv Eker and Sharon Lechter and Robert Kiyosaki and Napoleon Hill and all these amazing people. You can't fill your head with all that stuff and not have hope. Like, there's right. When you're filling your head, it's the Geico thing, garbage in, garbage out. When you're putting positivity in, man, Anything's possible. Anything. So
That's the truth.
so you at that moment, and you were in the house that you were rehabbing, you said.
Yep.
So you look out the window, you see all this real estate. I'm going to own all this. And where did things go from that day forward for you?
So I had 2 houses under contract. Obviously, I lost those contracts because I just quit my job, and my wife wasn't going to co-sign on those. So those contracts fell apart, and then a year went by. I made 17,000 that year. Right. I wrote the book Broke to a Quarter Million. This is my broke year. Right. The point is not to work to generate income, but that was the broke year. And for a year, I bought no real estate. I sucked at sales, but I went to the gym every day. I went to the gym every day for 6 hours a day. And I would just talk to all the biggest guys in there and talk about real estate and, how to get in shape. And what they taught me was discipline, like consistently. Like I see a big guy in the gym, be like, hey, what tips do you have? Like, show up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I see another big guy in the gym and be like, hey, what tips do you have? And he's like, show up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, all right. Like, I see another big guy and I'd be like, hey, what tips do you have? What do you eat? Like, and he's like, show up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and in the morning. And I'd be like, showing up at 4 and then 5 and then 3. And these guys would just put me through a workout. But they talk the whole time, like the mindset. They were bodybuilders. Like they did shows, like, and I was just looking for something to hold on to, like something for me to like grasp onto at the time because I had nothing, and I needed an obsession. But I knew if I didn't choose this obsession, I would choose something dangerous for myself, and at least this would put me into a healthy state, and then I could figure it out from there. And like these guys held me accountable, like they just kept me going, and they put discipline into my head. And appreciating and enjoying the grind and getting, just showing up was enough. And then once you showed up, well, why not do a little bit more? And then once you at 10 reps, why not push 2 more? And like this principle of push yourself a little further, just get to the next step. Don't think about it too much. Just get to the next step. And like that really started to help. And, but I was talking about real estate. They'd ask, what do I do? And I'd just talk about real estate. And I started buying real estate for investors. I started helping them invest because I had 2 houses. I felt comfortable with investors. My USP when I worked at Remax, they said, what is your unique selling proposition? And I was like, I make good people good money. And they told me that was a crap idea, right? They're like, that's terrible. That's not going to work.
Right.
I was so arrogant that I didn't care. I was like, that's at this point, like I should be dead. And so since I'm here, that I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm just going to help good people make good money, and that's what I started doing. And I built my business in the gym. I built my business around bodybuilders and people who wanted more in their life, motivated people who were like improving their lives, and I'd help them buy real estate. And I would find out these guys already owned real estate. They were just, buying a little bit more. And it kind of inspired me to get to that next level. And that year I didn't buy any real estate, but next year I bought 3 houses because I built up income. I built up knowledge. I even did a subject to existing financing. Like I found a way I was reading Bigger Pockets and all these mentors were telling me you could do this, you could do that. And so I started learning buying houses with no money, right? Because I used to think it was all my money. And I got to making 115,000 that next year and went from 17 to 115. And Ken, I know, because the blueprint thing. Yeah. I've never gone back. I double it every year.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. But that's I mean, before I ever read T. Harv's book, I used to teach salespeople, like you have an invisible ceiling in your head, and maybe Tony Robbins, I may have learned that. I don't know. One of my favorite quotes is, "There's no such thing as an original thought. All wisdom is plagiarized. Only stupidity is original." So I don't know where I heard it, but I know it probably didn't come from me. But we have these ceilings. And once we hit them unconsciously, it's very, very difficult to bust through that ceiling.
Especially if you don't see it.
Right. So you broke through the ceiling, you made 115,000, you continue to double it. And is it all through the acquisition of real estate, or is it through helping 100 people become millionaires? What are you doing to generate this income?
Yeah, so that guiding compass helps. So basically by helping 100 people build millionaires, become millionaires. And
Yeah.
I've now surrounded myself with millionaires. Even if they didn't start off as millionaires, they've gotten there. And so when I got to the point where I ran out of cash, because this happens every year. Every year, a real estate investor will run out of cash because the first thing we do with cash is put it back into a deal.
Yeah.
Look at Grant, right? He's always out of cash. He's just, okay,
Always.
find more money, find more money.
Yep. Yep.
So every time I'd run out of cash, I would go and I'd talk to the sellers of property who owned a lot of real estate and be like, hey, you've got some equity in your property. Will you loan it to me? Or let me sell your property and then give me the money afterwards. I'll pay you 12% and I'll go and I'll roll it into something else. And I was continuously stacking up. I started flipping. I'd never done flips before. I'd been a buy and hold guy. I built a real estate agency. I built a real estate team. And then I went and I took on a partner. So this was like my biggest fear was partnerships, because my mentors told me partners for dancing, which is the biggest like lie out there. If you want to succeed and do less work, you got to get a partner.
Yeah.
So I hired an assistant because I had 22 units at the time. I had 22 units. I was by myself running this real estate team, managing my own properties. And I was doing flips now. I just started doing flips. And I was like burnt out. And I thought like I'm either going to bring on somebody to manage my properties or I'm going to sell all my properties. And like I knew logically that didn't make sense. Like financially, that wouldn't be the right play. So I brought on the assistant, and then he was not a partner at the time. I met him on Bigger Pockets. He was just a friend of mine who I brought into my agency as an agent. He was a killer when it came to listings. I'd send him out to a house. He put an offer in, and we'd buy it. We'd acquire it, and I would do the flip. Or the company I work for would do the flip. And he came to me one day. He was sitting on $200,000. He'd made it, on a house that he flipped in Arizona. He was 17 years military, and I liked him as a person. Just a calm, quiet, really nicely mannered person with like dedication and loyalty. But he didn't have sales wasn't his thing, right? He did sales like systematically, but it wasn't his thing, and he was afraid to pull the trigger. But he was sitting on like 200 grand. And he asked me, he said, hey, would you do a deal with me? And I told him, I was like, no, like I'm done with real estate. I've maxed out the amount of units I have for now. I don't need to buy any more for the next year, but I would do a flip with you, right? To earn more income for me to have more down payments. And so our first deal was actually a 3-family flip that we bought for 126 together. And we put it on the market. We sold it for 199 with $10,000 renovation. We just converted it from mixed use to residential.
And how quick did you flip that?
That one took us, I want to say the renovation was like a month and a half, and we toyed with the idea of holding it. We actually rented it out. We had rent coming through it, and I think we held that for about a year so we get past the capital gains. We were tax concerned. So we had this hybrid strategy, not flip right away. We had this hybrid strategy. We buy multifamilies, renovate them, hold them for a year, and when a tenant moved out, then we go and put it on the market.
And this was all happening in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Fall River, man. I was operating in the worst city in the state.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you just continued building.
Yeah. See, I had a loyalty to my city. So before my grandparents died, they had told me like, this is the city we built in, come back, like, live here with us. This is a great city. And what I'd convinced myself is, I know that's not the truth, but maybe I could make it better. Maybe I could make Fall River a better city by me going back, building a business, renovating the real estate, kicking out the drug dealers, kicking out the prostitutes, kicking out the rambunctious, the bad tenants who don't pay. And like, I just started buying real estate, and I kept buying it, and I would remove all the bad tenants. I'd raise the rents. I'd improve the buildings. And in turn, I'd improve the neighborhoods. I'd improve entire blocks. That block that I was talking about, the first block, I owned it. After about 2 years, I owned the whole block, and I turned it around.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
When I set my mind to something, it's insane.
That's freaking awesome, dude. Wow. So you, wow. But you're not in Massachusetts anymore.
No, now I'm in Tampa, Florida. So I still own back home. I still own 58 units in Fall River.
58.
58 units. They've doubled in value. The rents have doubled since I started buying. I was buying buildings with rents at 550, 600. The rents are now 1,200, 1,100. Like I can't believe like how much rent has gone up and how much the city has improved. My buildings, I've done nothing to my buildings, but I've got a 50% equity position in them. Like
Wow.
it's absolutely insane.
That's incredible. So you wow, dude. So the partner that you were talking about, did you guys continue with your partnership or?
So Ken, I'm selling my last personal house right now. So of that original portfolio that I had by myself, I'm selling my last personal house right now. So because I actually like being partnered with him. He does all the stuff I hate. He talks to the attorneys, talks to the lenders, he talks to the accountant, he handles all the books, and all I do is go raise capital and find the deal. I train people, I train wholesalers to bring us deals so they can make money and income. I train real estate agents to bring us deals, teach them sales, teach them marketing so that they can make more money. Yeah. But selfishly, like I'm like, hey, if you need a buyer, like I'm right here. I will buy them quickly in cash.
Right.
And that's where I spend most of my time. And then we built this training company. The mentorship is based on how do we help people get to the $1 million status, right? It's my personal mission. How do I get them to be millionaires? But it's also allowed me to bring people into the company. So when I need money, I raise private capital. I say, hey, I'll give you 12% interest. Will you come in and do the deal with me? And it's kind of been my mission has allowed me to do what builds wealth. It's allowed me to do what builds wealth. And my partner has been the best investment I've ever made in my life. I used to say partners for dancing. I was a fool, right? Partners are for scaling. Partners are for expanding. Partners are for getting to the next level. And he's loyal. I'm loyal. I told him, the day we partnered up, I said, I will make you filthy fucking rich. And I remind him every so often that I stick to that commitment, right? If he's in it to build a legacy for his daughters. He has 3 daughters.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm in it just to stay here, right? Like I want to teach at a bigger level. And so I have to keep earning. I don't believe in, teachers who don't do. And so I have to keep doing and I have to keep learning. And, it keeps me engaged. It's so like, I don't have a choice, right? Like normal people, they can stop. I can't stop because if I stop, my students would look at me and be like, dude, like, come on, you're supposed to be the real estate guy.
Are you doing deals like similar to what Grant does or
I wish.
I mean, I know I look, I know like Grant's, he's doing, what, $300 million deals. I don't know, but he's doing some big,
Grant's like 500 units. Put a dash of spice on that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's doing big deals.
The biggest deal I've ever put an offer in on was for, I want to say 15 million. So that was the biggest deal we ever put an offer in on. And I was sweating, I sweat on every deal. Every deal I ever put money down on, I sweat. And I knew that I wasn't going to come up with all that money. Like we own $10 million worth of real estate right now. To go and more than double the portfolio in one swing, you're talking raising capital from other investors. So I knew I'd have to raise somewhere around $5 million to do that deal. And it made me sweat putting the offer in, but I put the offer in. I put the offer in anyway. And they denied it. And like I had both this relief and grief at the same time because I was like, damn, like I want to prove myself. Like I want to go out there and see what I can do.
Yeah. So
we put in offers on 65 units. I just put one in on a $3 million portfolio in Orlando. We put about 5-7 offers a week, anywhere between, we'll say 3 million to that $15 million range. Like 3 million, I know I can raise that quick. Like that's, $750,000 down payment with maybe another 200,000 for renovations. I can do that. But I would need like a lead time before the next one. Like maybe it takes me 6 months to charge up and find new investors, bring new people into the program.
Wow.
And it takes time for people to build wealth, Ken, right? Like you come to me with $100,000 net worth. I've got work to do before I'm even going to take your money. Right? Like I've got to get your net worth higher before I feel like Grant says ethical and moral about taking your money. Because I can't take 50 if you only got another 50. Like you need that money to keep rolling a couple times. So I've got to age my students. I've got to take that. I gotta be willing to put 2-3 years behind them before they can reinvest in our deals. So, there's just like this constant fill the funnel as soon as I can, put as many people through the program as I can, and then stay with them as long as it takes until they're able to reinvest.
So you keep talking about students. I mean, do you have like an online training platform thing that you do?
Yeah. We have ibuildmillionaires.com is inside of it. There's a 52 weeks to wealth. They're the 52 wealth principles. And you'll recognize a lot of these, right? Because you've read all the books, right? I got 350 books that I've read.
Yeah.
And what was it? Napoleon Hill had the 16 or 17 laws. T. Harv was talking about 17 principles, 7 habits of highly effective people, the 6 laws of gold or the 7 laws of gold, right? Like there's all these different principles and rules and laws, but if you distill them down, there's about 52 minors and micros, right? Like big ones that everybody agrees on, like Think a Million, right? Grant Cardone. And then there's like smaller ones, like the whole point in building a business is to sell your business. You don't build a business for cash flow. You build a business to sell the business. And
Sharon Lecter.
Purpose. Go ahead.
I said Sharon Lecter. She talks about that.
Yes.
She's been on the. She's a friend of mine. She's been on the show too. She's amazing. So and in fact, I just had her on Amazon. I'm an Amazon influencer as well, and so I had Sharon. She just wrote a book called Exit Rich. Like
that's the point, right?
Right. I mean, why exit broke when you can exit rich?
That's the whole point. Ken, you're a player, man. You're hanging with the right people. Have you read Science of Getting Rich? Wallace D. Wattles?
By Wallace, yeah.
So he says this, focus on the best, surround yourself with the best, and you'll become the best. You've done that.
Yeah. Dude, I Mark Victor Hansen, #1 best-selling author on planet Earth. Him and his wife are friends of mine, and we talk or text almost every day or every other day. And it's like the other day, this realization, because I didn't graduate high school, man. I walked out my senior year and said, this is bullshit. I'm out of here. And the other day I was like, I cannot believe some of the people I talk to every day. Like, it's crazy. And people need to realize that man, who you're like, I grew up in a similar area as you. Look, Glenn Bill's on here. Do you know who this guy is? He's one of the top EXP dudes in the world. Like that guy's, and he's a buddy of mine, a really good friend of mine. So like,
EXP.
That's right. So I see all these people. I talked to Don Hobbs yesterday, who's a monster, right? And so, you got to get around the right people, man. You got to get it. You could be the brokest dude on planet Earth. And here's what's really cool. And I think that right. You could be the brokest. You could be making less than 17 grand a year. But if you get around the right people, like Gualter, like me, like Grant Cardone, like Glenn Bill, Jeffrey Gitomer, all these amazing, Mark Victor Hansen, we want you to win. Like, and people will actually help you come up, but you got to have the right attitude. You got to be putting the right information in your brain. Am I right?
It's all a mindset, man. It's all up here. The devil's up here and the angels up here. It's all you.
It's the truth, man. So let me ask you this, man. And I normally do. Well, we're coming. God, we've been on here almost 45 minutes already, dude. What do you think? And I ask everybody on the show this question. I can't wait to have Tony Robbins on and ask him. So what do you think the #1 thing is that it stops people from true financial wealth or success? And #2, what stops them from experiencing real freedom and joy in life? And I do think those two things are related, by the way. So, I'm curious. What's your #1 answer? Is fear. So you got to do better than that.
Yeah, no, I can't use that one because what I discovered is it's something different. right? People just don't know what's possible for them. You can see a rapper on TV with all the girls and the cars and the money, and you can see Grant Cardone with the jet, and you can see, people out there doing things. But until you've been there and physically touched a jet, until you've touched a Rolls Royce, until you've been at a party where the girls were half naked, until you've seen somebody throw $10,000 on black, like, you just don't know it even exists. This was my problem. I grew up in that city where I didn't see money anywhere. I had no clue that there was more to make. And I took a trip to Las Vegas. This is what made it more possible for me. Was when I got there, I saw the buildings. I saw everybody drove a Lamborghini. Like, it was just like, oh my God, everybody drives a Lambo. And I saw all the money, and I saw the potential. And then I thought, okay, well, they're not like me. They're not from the same city as me. They clearly just came from money and had opportunities. And I got lucky enough to have a conversation with a gentleman who had, a lot of money. He was very successful. He pulled out of a Rolls Royce, and I just asked him, I had the guts to do it. And I was like, hey, how'd you buy that car? And he said, I built a business. I invested in real estate, and that allowed me to afford not just this car, but a lot of really nice things in life. And he told me, he said, it's not about how you buy the car. It's about what you want in life, knowing what's possible for you and going and getting it. And then he told me, he's like, anything you want in life is possible. He's like, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to college. I built this business, this real estate business, by myself. And like, if you want to do that, you can. And it hit me because I didn't know this guy, right? So like, just a stranger, but who I believed had all of this authority, gave me this inspiration. So I think that the reason people are not successful is they don't even have a clear goal. They don't know what's possible for them. They don't believe in themselves. There's fear, right? There's fear, but I think that people are more afraid of dreaming of what they could be. They don't know how to visualize it. They don't know how to see it. They don't know how to think about it. They don't know how to experience it. The Law of Attraction, right? The Secret was a great movie, but at the end of the day, if you don't know what that would even look like, it can't be real for you. So you have to go out and test those things out, try them out.
I have friends that own Rolls Royces. I'm not there yet.
Same.
But I flew down to one of Grant's best friends is a guy named John Hamlin that lives over on the opposite side of Florida from you.
Yeah.
And so many years, 6, 7 years ago, I built his website, and it was, it was you want to talk about a tough close. I had to have Elena Cardone close him for me. So I go down there and I hang out with John for a day, and he has a private jet also. And he's like, let's go to lunch. And I go, okay, I'll get my rental car. And he's like, nah, come on, dude, jump in my car. And we go out, and it's a Rolls Royce. And dude, if you've not ridden in a Rolls Royce, like, there's nothing like it. There is nothing like riding around in a Rolls Royce. There's just not. It's a really special feeling. And I think that, man, everybody needs to understand and not feel bad about it. Like, you've got to learn how to feel good about accumulating wealth.
Yeah.
And once you do that, once you have that breakthrough, man, life becomes, there it is. Once you do that, life becomes magical.
It is.
And look, Susan's you've never even seen one. Make it your goal to go to a Rolls Royce dealership. Go look at one, sit in one, smell it. The leather, there's nothing smells like a Rolls Royce.
These cars are designed for, like, just to empower the driver. Like, they're designed to make you feel better. It's like a woman walking around with a Coach purse. You just, like, the purse is not functionally better. It just is designed to make you feel like you've accomplished something. And when you sit in a car like the Rolls Royce, or, my first really luxury car was a Lamborghini, and I sat down in it and I was like, I cannot believe just how different this is. It's not comfortable, but it's powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful and it's not comfortable. They're very, very uncomfortable. But you can learn to get comfortable in a Lamborghini, man, right?
Wait,
So
wait.
I'll tell you there was a day years ago. My wife and I had just opened we had just met, and we thought, it'd be a good idea for a new relationship to be in business together and go open an office, man. And so we opened this office, had some employees, and then she, we had our daughter, and so I was at the office, had a handful of employees, and this dude that worked for me, way bigger than me, I'm on a call and he comes in one day and he says, "Hey man, there's some dude looking in the windows of your SUV out in the parking lot." And I go, "Why are you telling me this? You're bigger than me, dude. Go tell him, get the hell out of here." He's like, "He's got it blocked with his tow truck." I'm like, "Oh shit. No. And apparently the bank likes it when you make your payments. Um, so, but see, everybody else was getting paid except for us. And I remember, dude, that day, I can remember it being like, man, the humiliation, the pain, the fear, the judgment, the fear of judgment, all of that just overwhelmed me. And I remember thinking, what's the point of being here? What is the point? Like, I'm working my freaking butt off, and I'm watching a guy. You can't talk him out of taking your car, by the way. It's not possible. And so I remember, like, just being completely humiliated. And I think in the last year and a half, a lot of people have, suicide rates went through the freaking the roof, man. And a lot of people feel like they're barely hanging on. And what do you say to the person that's where you were when you thought about suicide? What do you say to the person that's barely hanging on to life, man? Maybe their car just got repoed and the electric's getting shut off tomorrow. Maybe, everything's going wrong. What do you say to that person to help them through to the next moment?
Ken, I love that. And thank you for the opportunity to share this. I'm doing a conversation for mental health and awareness this Saturday. And it's the message I'm going to share there is the same message here is it gets better. And I know that sounds cliche, but I promise I was there at the bottom. I had nothing. I was worth less than I was born with, negative 25,000, worthless, like worth less than a baby coming into the world. And what I'll tell you is that it does get better. I mean, you can change. You can be whoever you want. I don't care what your situation is. I don't care what you think those relationships in your life matter. If a relationship is hurting you that much, you can cut it off. I have changed all of my friends. I have changed all of my relationships. I have restructured the relationships in my family. You can change how your family perceives you. You can change how your friends perceive you. You can change the activities you do every day. You can change your body. I went from being 140 pounds, scrawny, out, not athletic, to 188 pounds, all muscle, in best shape of my life. The woman I'm with, you can change the spouse if you believe your spouse is the wrong spouse. You can change your love. You can 5 love languages. You can change the relationships. Everything about your life can be 10 times better than it is today. If you're at the very bottom, if you're thinking my spouse sucks, or my friends are terrible, nobody supports me, I messed up, I made this big mistake, I'm going to debt, I'm going to file the bankruptcy, they're going to take everything away. I've let down people, I've lost people money, I've lost everything in crypto. Whatever your situation is, there is a way to dig out of it. There is a way to dig out of it. And then your pain becomes your story. Like what you've gone through will one day save other people's lives. Like you could become a hero for other people. All you have to do is be your own hero today. But one day, whether it's 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now, you could be the hero in somebody's life if you just stick around. And that's important. Because without people like you, without your story, your special, unique situation, I was on a call today with a woman who got raped, and she said, you can never understand. And I told her, you're absolutely right. But the people who have been through your situation, you're the only person who can connect to them. I can't do it because they're not going to listen to me, but they'll listen to you. And so that's, you got to stick around because it's more than just you on this planet. There's other people who need some help.
Wow, dude, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. Susan said she's crying. That's amazing, dude. That's amazing. I genuinely appreciate you. I'm gonna pull a Grant Cardone, man. I'm gonna ask you a question Grant would ask. What's your net worth, man?
Net worth off the top of my head is, hold on, I got the spreadsheet right here.
He said, I got the spread. I don't need to know. I'm just playing. I
know. I love it, man. I look at it every day and it's part of my community. I tell everybody my net worth today is $2.36466 million. So we'll say just under 2.4. It fluctuates. I'm in crypto and stocks, so it'll go up to 2.4, 2.5, but I'll be at 5 million by the end of the next 10 months. Just a couple of real estate deals. I got to pick up another 750,000 in crypto, 2 million in real estate, and double my business to get another $250,000 out of the business. So it's
well done, dude.
I'll just do it. Yeah.
Well done, man. That's freaking awesome. Good job. And show your book. I'm going to give you full screen one more time. Show everybody your book again. Broke to $250,000 right there. Broke to $250,000. Gualter Amarelo. Did I say it right?
Gualter Amarelo, you got it, brother. Hey, as long as you call me Ken, we're friends for life. You can mispronounce it the rest of your life, brother. It's all good. We can't all be blessed with Ken Walls as a name, right? Breaking through walls.
That's right. That's right. What crypto are you buying? Joe wants to know.
Awesome. So please do not do anything that I've done. I buy way before it makes sense for you to buy. And, I'm in Doge, I'm in ETH, I'm in Bitcoin, I'm this platform called Cub Finance where I'm getting a 300% APY on DeFi fields, yield farming. And like the stuff I do is you've got to do your research, man. Like I get asked all the time, should I buy this coin? Should I buy this coin? It's like, dude, like if you have to ask me, you are not qualified to buy anything right now. You need to find out about that coin, about what's going on. And if you have to ask somebody, should you buy? Do not buy. You're not qualified, right? Like get yourself to the point where you have faith in your decision. You understand the token, what it does, what its tokenomics are, what the roadmap for the community is. And if you can't answer those questions, leofinance.io. Go to leofinance.io. I blog there. The Crypto Cat blogs there. Like there's some really cool people who put a lot of really good posts on what we're doing and the fundamentals behind things. But if anybody tells you to buy a coin, do not listen to them. Go and research the token. Figure out what's behind it. Figure out the fundamentals, the utility behind it. Do not make mistakes in this volatile market.
Joe said, I've been buying nickels for 10 cents. Is that bad?
Hashtag winning.
Yeah, right.
It might work out one day. Who knows?
That's funny. Well, hey, dude, first off, what's the best place for everybody to follow you on social?
GualterAmarelo.com. Sorry, not .com. Facebook. I crush Facebook. I crush Instagram. It's Gualter Amarelo. You can go to my 52 Weeks to Wealth at ibuildmillionaires.com and you get me live every week. Every week I go on live Saturday at 10. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Ken, are you on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok, dude. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. I'll follow
I have
you.
over 100 videos on TikTok, man.
Bro, I gotta catch. You're like Gary V, man. You're like crushing it.
My 10-year-old daughter has 12,000 followers on TikTok.
All right, she's doing better than I am right now.
I know, man. It's crazy. She's doing better than I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. But anyway, so I'm sure all your social media is on your website. If not, we need to have another talk.
Yeah. You know a good developer?
Yeah, I might. But I've been doing it 27 years. So yeah. But look, man, I genuinely appreciate you. I think your story is absolutely phenomenal. And Ken is the king of TikTok. I own the king of TikTok.com. I bought the domain. I had hopes and aspirations, but anyway, bro, you're amazing. Thank you. And I think it was Charles that introduced us.
Charles
Right?
Coach.
Charles Coachman, my brother right there. I appreciate the introduction. Thank you. And Gualter, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to end the live stream now, but thank you to everyone who watched and shared this out. The numbers are just, Facebook is killing me with this shadow banning crap. I don't know what they're doing, but hey, share it out again if you already shared it. Thank you all. Appreciate you. And Gualter, hang tight. I'll be right back. Thank you guys. Have a great day.